I just got done watching Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret. This is, of course, based on the Judy Blume book. It's an adaptation. We're getting a brand new one to this, and I've actually never read the book to this, but I understand that countless people have grown up with this book, and in reality, it has kind of changed their lives. So this is my first reaction to the material here. I can't speak to how good they did adapting it, but I can speak upon the film itself. And what I can say is I was very excited for this because it not just stars the likes of Rachel McAdams, Benny Safdie, and Kathy Bates. It also stars newcomer who plays Cassie in the original first two Ant-Man films, but that is Abby Ryder Fortson. I loved her in there. I'm so happy to see her getting this role. And it's also directed by Kelly Fremon Craig, who, if you don't know that name, that is the same lady who directed Edge of 17, one of my favorite films from a couple of years back, starring Haley Steinfeld. If you've never seen that film, I highly recommend it. But if you don't know what Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret, it's about, well, Margaret, her family moves from a city to the suburbs. 11-year-old Margaret navigates new friends' feelings in the beginning of adolescence. Now, going into this, I feel like I didn't know what I was going to get. I knew I was going to get something charming, coming of age, but I didn't know if I was going to be able to relate to it. And I can actually say that, like, a lot of different instances in here, I was wholeheartedly relating to it. It didn't matter if it was more of a female issue and a girl growing up in this time period, or just in general growing up around 6th grade and around that awkwardness of 11 years old. The thing is it does take you back to being 11. It does take you back to being in that age, and certain things that you will remember no matter if you are a guy or a girl or however you grow up in that. And I found that to be quite important for this time and age, and specifically in how this film was able to develop that and showcase it in its mannerisms. I'm very excited to talk about this movie, but I definitely want to get your guys' thoughts down below in the comment section. Do you love this book? Have you read the book? Let me know down below in the comment section, as well as make sure to hit that like and subscribe button for more movie content over here on a daily basis. I got the two channels, Zach Pope Reviews and Zach Pope Expanded, both containing movie reviews. You should subscribe to both. You can find the links down below in the description down there. Every movie review, I love talking about the pros first, and first off, let's start with the performances. Abby Fortson in here, she is a triumph. This is a star-making performance. Like I mentioned, she's great as Cassie in the first two Ant-Man films. She's adorable. But this is the film you come to, and you see a star in the making. It's been quite a while since I've seen a young child performance in a role like this and gone, yeah, that's like the next best thing. I think the last one I could say that for is Jacob Tremblay from Room. Like that the comparisons there are strong, and I truly think that like this is one of the best young kid performances that we've gotten such a long while, and I'm so happy to see what Fortson was able to do in this role, and I thought she truly did a magnificent job as well. Among the likes of Rachel McAdams, she is stellar. Again, I can't speak to how good of a job they did actually adapting the novel, what they left out, what they added, but what I can say is I really did like that while it is focusing on Margaret herself, it also does focus on how the change has affected the rest of the family's lives, specifically Rachel McAdams and Kathy Bates' character. Benny Safdie, who plays the father in here, and there's not a lot of changes there personally for his life, but Rachel McAdams, you know, she has to start dealing with some of the, you know, other parents. She's a stay-at-home mom now. She's not working. How does that affect her creativity? Because she's an art teacher. There's a lot of different elements in there, and I love what Rachel McAdams was able to bring into the sincerity, and she, again, does the typical Rachel McAdams, but she's great for that. Kathy Bates is also really good. There's one whole little segment where it's just Margaret and Kathy Bates' character Sylvia, and then just kind of hanging out and what they're able to do there, and again, it's delightful. I do want to also shout out the rest of the kids, because I feel like a lot of people actually might not focus on them, but that's like Elle Graham, Amari Price, Catherine Comfort, Landon Baxter, Aiden Hissong. I mean, every single one of the other kids in here I thought did a phenomenal job as well. Now again, Abby is the one that gets the main focus, and she is, again, a triumph, a star, but the other ones also do deserve a shout out because they're exceptional as well. And there's a lot of films that I've gone and seen where like the child performances are terrible, and again, it's hard to direct a kid, I would understand that, but this is like, again, every single person in this film is just firing on all cylinders. I think a lot of that probably goes to Kelly Craig's direction. She did an amazing job in Edge of 17, creating a coming-of-age story around high school era and how you were growing up and that awkwardness level that you feel, but she fuses and adapts this book and it brings that same feeling that I imagine the book probably gave many different people of being a girl who wants to grow up, who wants to grow up faster, who wants to experience different elements of puberty. All of her friends are experiencing them at different forms and times, and how all of that affects each and every one of their lives, how starting to like boys affects your lives, how certain things like that. And you know, again, for me, Kelly Craig is able to adapt this and make a movie that will even make me look at certain things in my life, going to the store to buy something that maybe is a little bit not age appropriate, but it's also awkward to do so. So you throw a bag of candy on top of it. Like, I know that feeling. You go to a whole different element of starting to like someone and having a crush on them, but how does that affect your life? And every single little layer in here, there was a delivery of being able to view it from my perspective of how that was going through my mind. And I love how this film really details the awkwardness of that age, but in such a free and beautiful structure that's also hilarious itself. And I find that films like this, when they are approached in this delicate and beautiful manner, that is when the films truly take off. And again, I think for people, maybe I always view it as that books are not the most popular thing now that they used to be. And specifically for a book that is this old, I'm happy that now there is a movie for it, because now others can come and watch the movie themselves and be able to show their kids it as they grow up, as they get older. And it'll be that nice experience for a lot of parents who grew up with the book, who now get to show their kids for the very first time the movie. And I found, again, that this movie was just the definition of charming. You have great direction, great writing, and overall excellent performances. It's the typical film that you feel like you would get from here, but it's oozing from all that, so it excels in every other department. Honestly, when it comes down to issues with the film, the only thing I actually have a problem with within this film is you don't focus in a lot on her family. And that's the one thing. I'm not sure if the book shows this or not, and if it doesn't, then I actually think they should have focused on it more. But like I mentioned, the father doesn't really get much to do. He's kind of just there. And I actually wish there was more family bonding moments, because there comes a crux in the film where Margaret is dealing with a lot of these elements of, what religion should I be? My father's Jewish, my mother's Christian, her family, all families are pulling me apart. They want me to decide for myself. And you see her experiencing all forms of different religions and things like that. And I remember growing up and wondering all the same questions. And for me, I love how they handled the religion aspect. I thought that was very important. But there's an important dinner scene with their family. And, you know, all the families coming together. And I loved that scene so much. But I wish we would have had just normal family dinners beforehand. With the mom, with the dad, with just Margaret. And having those little moments would be a really well and exceptionally, and I think would have added a little bit more to the story. I wouldn't have minded if the film was at least 10 minutes longer to include segments like that. At least one other one. That's really my only issue, though. When I look at this entire film, I just wish there was a little bit more development on that entire structure. But with that said, Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret is the definition of delightful and charming. Kelly Fremon Craig crafts the essence of 6th grade puberty and awkwardness all into one. But my God, Abby Ryder Fortson is a triumph and will become your new favorite star. I love this movie. I cannot recommend it enough. I highly recommend you check it out. And with all that said, I'm going to give this film an A-. I really enjoyed this one. This is one of my favorite films of the year. Make sure to leave your thoughts down below. Hit that like and subscribe button for more. And of course, until next time, stay classy.